I'm John Green and this is Crash Course U.S. History, and today we are talking about the most hard-working minority in this country.
Yo, Mr. Green, we talking about the Mexicans?
Me from the past, he was so stupid. He's talking about African Americans. Alright, y'all, today we're going to be talking... What's that? Why are we doing the mystery document already? Okay, go ahead. We'll do the mystery document. Oh, Jesus Lord. Hi, y'all. What was that? Presents in there? Oh my God. Stan! Where's the mystery doc? What? Y'all's crazy. Okay. The man, Negroes, on being brought aboard the ship are immediately fastened together.
2 and 2 by handcuffs on their wrists and by irons riveted on their legs. They are then sent down between the decks and placed in an apartment partitions far off that purpose.
The women, likewise, are placed in a separate apartment between decks, but without being ironed. And the adjoining room on the same deck is besides appointed for the boys. But at the same time, they are infrequently stowed so close as to admit no other posture than laying on their sides. Neither will their height between decks... there's a hole in the mystery document. Stan, I need you to fix this. There's a hole in the mystery document.
Do I just go on? I'll go on. I lost my spot. Never mind, y'all. I found it. It took me a while because I have a little bit of lava in my brain. Okay.
Unless directly under the grating, permit them the indulgence of an erect posture, especially here are platforms, which is generally the case. These platforms are kind of shelf about 8 or 9 feet in breadth, extending from the side of the ship towards the center. They are placed nearly midway between the decks at the distance of 2 or 3 feet from each deck. Dun, 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 dun.
You know what? This is clearly about African American slave trade in the 18th century, but to think of the author and the document, it's going to take a lot of brain power and a lot of calories. So, you know what, Stan, I'll let you have this one. Who is it? What? Alexander Falconbridge? What's a Falconbridge? That's a dumb last name. Okay, y'all? Alright, I'll get the shock band. I've gotten kind of used to it anyway. Where's the shock pen, Stan? We are not doing this, Stan. Ugh, my back. Get that camera out of my... Oh my God, it's away from the back. Tease me, Parth. No.
Got this.
Now, Bacon's rebellion was inspired by Nathaniel Bacon. Obviously, he's Bacon. And it was a group of farmers from the Virginia countryside who revolted against the governor William Berkeley of Virginia in 1676. Now, because of this armed rebellion against the state, people were inspired to go away from indentured servants and more to slavery. Now, it all started with triangular trade, a system of slave trade in the Atlantic Ocean that involved a triangular-shaped slave route. Now, it is important to note that New Englanders traded extensively, you know, whale oil and furs and what have you. But the more successful one was triangular trade. Now, New Englanders shipped rum to the west coast of Africa in exchange for slaves, and in turn the slaves were taken through the Middle Passage to the West Indies, where they were traded for molasses and money, and that molasses and money was then shipped to New England to make more rum, and then the whole process would be started all over again. This was known as the triangle trade. But you know what else is triangular shaped? Doritos. But Stan is and Dorito. We ran out. We have a budget, so I'm going to say this one. Now that slaves are now outnumbering indentured servants, black codes are now established because people were afraid that the slaves would get too much power and too much willpower, especially. The most important being the Barbados slave codes, which were very vigorous laws against slaves, and they made their ways from the West Indies all the way to South Carolina. Now, the cotton gin invented by Eli Whitney allowed cotton to be cultivated 20 times faster than by hand. Now, his intention was to decrease the use of slavery, but instead the slave masters increased the exploitation of slaves because they wanted more money. Nothing ever goes according to plan in America. Kill the libertad. Now, in general, most abolitionists did not want immediate emancipation of slaves, rather gradual. Only the radical Republicans wanted immediate emancipation of slaves. Let's go to the thought bubble. The Compromise of 1850 consists of 5 laws passed in September of 1850 that dealt with the issue of slavery. In 1849, California requested permission to enter the Union as a free state, potentially upsetting the balance between free and slave representation in the U.S. Senate. Senator Henry Clay introduced a series of resolutions on January 29, 1850 in an attempt to seek a compromise and avert a crisis between the North and the South. As part of the Compromise of 1850, the Fugitive Slave Act was amended and the slave trade in Washington, D.C. was abolished. Now, okay, so during this period, many slaves were escaping from their masters and going to the North for freedom, naturally. This, however, was contradicted by the Fugitive Slave Laws that were implemented in the United States. The Fugitive Slave Acts were a pair of federal laws that allowed for the capture and return of runaway slaves within the territory of the United States. The Fugitive Slave Acts were among the most controversial laws of the early 19th century, and many northern states passed legislation in an attempt to circumvent them. Let's take a break, please. I'm so hungry, my energy is gone. Please enjoy this video of something while I get something to eat. Thank you, Thought Bubble. Now, a little bit later on in our nation's birthery, people were a little bit more anti-slavery because they were seeing it as something, I don't know, not good. Now, this was almost all due in part to Harriet Beecher Stowe's novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, which demanded that slaves be free from them captors of theirs. Now, this book inspired people to be so anti-slavery that it inspired and galvanized the abolitionist movement, which almost started the Civil War, I grant you. Now, it is important to note that people who were radical abolitionists were very much so inspired by the fervor of the Second Great Awakening, who wanted to abolish slavery on religious grounds.
It turns out that slavery actually increased because the farmers were getting more and more greedy. And as if this wasn't bad enough, there came to be something called the Three-Fifths Compromise. The Three-Fifths Compromise was a compromise reached between delegates from the southern states. I need to breathe. And those from the northern states during the 1787 United States Constitutional Convention. The debate was over how states would be counted when determining a state's total population for constitutional purposes. The issue was important, as this population number would then be used to determine the number of seats that the state would have in the United States House of Representatives for the next 10 years. That's 7 years younger than me. And to determine what percentage of the nation's direct tax burden the state would have to bear. So basically, it ended up saying that the slave was worth 3/5 of a person. Oh, hair in my mouth. 3/5 of a person. I mean, can you get any more ridiculous than that? Oh, actually, yes, it can, as we will see in a while. So not all slaves took all this from white Southerners, as seen by Nat Turner's rebellion. In 1831, a slave named Nat Turner led a rebellion in Southampton County, Virginia. A religious leader and self-styled Baptist minister, Turner and a group of followers killed some 60 white men, women, and children on the night of August the 21st. Turner and his 16 conspirators were captured and executed, but the incident continued to haunt Southern whites. Blacks were randomly killed all over the Southampton County. Many were beheaded, and their heads left along the roads to warn others. Breath break. Hold on, let me scroll down the screen. In the wake of the uprising, planters tightened their grip on slaves and slavery. Since states were fighting over how many states get to have slavery and how many didn't, another compromise was formed. This one was known as the Missouri Compromise. So in an effort to preserve the balance of power in Congress between slave and free states, the Missouri Compromise was passed in 1820, admitting Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state. Furthermore, with the exception of Missouri, this law prohibited in the Louisiana Territory, north of the 3630 latitude line. In 1854, the Missouri Compromise was repealed by the Kansas-Nebraska Act, and 3 years later, the Missouri Compromise was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in the Dred Scott case, which ruled that Congress did not have the authority to prohibit slavery in the territories. Can you guys stop staring at me so much? I feel so self-conscious about my weight.
Now, as we all know, the issue of slavery led right to the Civil War. We are not doing another mystery document, okay? Oh, Lord. Here we go. Oh, I've never been good at baseball, y'all. Oh my God, this is a really disgusting mystery document. Ew. Now, it seems strange to me that we do not receive the same pay and rations as white soldiers.
Do we not fill the same ranks? Do we not cover the same space of ground? Do we not take up the same length of ground in the graveyard that others do? The ball does not miss the black man and strike the white, nor the white and strike the black. But sir, at the same time, there is no distinction made. They strike one as much as another. The black men have to go through the same hurling of musketry and the same bleaching of cannon loading as white soldiers do.
Well, the person in this document is clearly upset about unequal treatment of black soldiers compared to the whites. So obviously the soldier is black. Let me think. There's only a few that I know. I know who it is, Dan. It's EDW of the 54th Massachusetts Regiment. Yes! What? I got the document right. No. I ain't doing that, Stan. No. Oh, no. Yes!
Dude, check his pulse, man. Dude, we're gonna be so fired.
It's me! I am here now taking the place of John Green, you know? You like that one? Okay, so on July 17th, 1862, Congress started by passing the Second Confiscation and Militia Act, freeing slaves who had masters in the Confederate Army. 2 days later, slavery was abolished in the territory of the United States, and on July 22nd, President Lincoln presented the preliminary draft of the Emancipation Proclamation to his cabinet. Well, African American had quite the impact on the Civil War. You know, the most well-remembered of them is the Pittsburgh, Massachusetts Regiment. Did a very nice one, okay? Help created by the abolitionist and purple slave Frederick Douglass. This was the first all-black infantry regiment formed by the United States Army. Douglass encouraged black men to become soldiers to ensure eventual citizenship. So volunteers began to respond, and in May 1863, the government established the Bureau of Colored Troops to manage the burning soldiers of the black soldiers, and thus the regiment was born. Okay. The black soldiers were initially paid $10 per month, from which $3 was automatically deducted for clothing, resulting in a net pay of $7. In contrast, white soldiers received $13 per month, through which no clothing allowance was drawn. So in the June 1864, Congress granted equal pay to the U.S. colored troops and made the action retroactive. Yes! Okay, black soldiers received the same ration and supplies. In addition, they received comparable medical care. Shut up. Okay, by war end, 16 black soldiers have been awarded the Medal of Honor for their valor. Roughly 179,000 black men, which is 10% of the Union Army, okay, served as soldiers in the U.S. Army, and another 19,000 served in the Navy. Okay. Nearly 40,000 black members died over the course of a war. Also said 30,000 of infection or disease. It's always a stupid disease, you like that one? Okay, black soldiers serve in artillery and infantry and perform all non-combat support function that sustain an army as well, okay? Black carpenters, chaplains, cooks, guards, laborers, nurses, scouts, spies, steamboat pilots, surgeons, and teamsters also contributed to the war cause. There were nearly 80 black commissioned officers. Black women who could not permanently join the army nonetheless served as nurses, spies, and scouts. And the most famous being Harriet Tubman, who scouted for the 2nd Carolina South Carolina volunteer. Huh? It's very important to remember that this is just the beginning of the American journey to eventually becoming treated as equals in American society. Huh? They face all these segregation later on. It's a very terrible life. Huh? Kind of that is America. Libertage. Huh? Where's the libertage? So everybody, thank you for watching my crash course. Stop!
That's right, and I'm back, and I'm bringing lard back.
Oh, who's this one? Huh? You die, you go back over there. Huh? I stay here, I finish my show. No. No. Screw
Go! In the name of the South, I expel you from this house of lard.
North Korea never move, you know, like that.
Okay, I'll move it. Get this skin a little child.
My name is, I don't know my name, but...
Can I have the gun? I need the gun. Yeah, I should the gun. We're gonna do this Southern style, y'all. Oh! Yeah. Well, this was Crash Course History, y'all, and I really hoped you enjoyed it. It has been a wonderful experience for me and Kim Jong-un or whatever. Goodbye. And good luck to you. Oh, no, I can't move anymore. Let me try to get out of the camera. Oh, man. I am so sorry, Stan. I don't know how that happened. Leroy, this is your fault. Oh, God. Leroy, this is your fault. You've never been a good housemaid.
Well, this has been Crash Course US History, y'all, and I really hope you've enjoyed your time as I have. You gain nothing in life by throwing things at me, maid. Do not throw that laptop and put it down. Don't make me have you something like I did old Kim Jong-un, okay?